Something strange is happening at ITV. Not on the cobbles. Not inside the Rovers. Not even in Weatherfield itself. This time, the drama is happening behind the scenes. Because after months of change, controversy and fan frustration, Coronation Street and Emmerdale are suddenly returning to a format many viewers thought was gone forever. And the timing of it all? That's what makes this story even more fascinating. Welcome back to Coronation Street Update. And tonight, we're breaking down the major ITV schedule shakeup that could quietly change the future of British soap television all over again. Because this is about far more than episode times. This is about ratings, audience loyalty, streaming pressure, changing viewer habits, and a battle between modern television and nostalgia. 4 months now, Coronation Street and Emmerdale fans have been living in a completely different soap landscape. The old format disappeared. Gone were the long, familiar episode blocks that had dominated British evenings for years. Instead, ITV pushed both soaps into the so-called power hour structure. Shorter episodes, faster pacing, streaming-friendly storytelling. At the time, ITV insisted this was the future. Executives argued that modern viewers no longer consume television the old-fashioned way. Attention spans were changing. Streaming platforms were reshaping habits. Audiences supposedly wanted faster emotional payoffs and tighter storytelling. And on paper, it sounded logical. But then everything changes. Because despite all the corporate confidence, fan reaction has never been completely straightforward. Some viewers embraced the faster pace. Others felt something had been lost. The slower emotional beats. The lingering tension. The atmosphere that once allowed stories to breathe. And now, in a move dripping with irony, ITV is suddenly bringing back the classic hour-long structure for a major week of programming. That alone has triggered huge conversation online. Because viewers are asking the same question. If the old format was outdated, why bring it back now? Officially, the answer is simple. The FIFA World Cup schedule is forcing major disruptions across ITV programming. Huge live matches. Primetime England fixtures. Opening ceremonies. Tournament coverage dominating the schedule. And suddenly Coronation Street and Emmerdale are being moved around like chess pieces in a much bigger broadcasting war. But that may not be the whole truth. Because the timing of this decision feels incredibly revealing. Right now, both soaps are sitting in the middle of some of their biggest storylines of the year. Over in Coronation Street, the murder of Theo Silverton has completely transformed Weatherfield into a ticking time bomb of secrets, emotional damage and fractured loyalties. Todd, Summer, George, Danielle, Lisa Swain. Every character is carrying emotional fallout from Theo's terrifying reign of abuse. And viewers are deeply invested in discovering who finally brought him down. Meanwhile in Emmerdale, another mystery is unfolding. A series of fires. A community under pressure. Robert Sugden and Aaron Dingle desperately trying to uncover who is targeting their future. Both soaps are currently operating at maximum emotional momentum. And ITV knows it. That's why this schedule reshuffle suddenly becomes far more interesting than it first appears. Because the network isn't just protecting football coverage. It's strategically repositioning two of its biggest emotional properties during one of the most competitive television periods of the year. And that changes the psychology of everything. Rare Sunday episodes are suddenly returning. Fans who built decades-long viewing habits around weekday routines are being forced into an entirely different rhythm. That creates anticipation. Event television. A feeling that something unusual is happening. And psychologically, that matters more than many people realize. Television isn't only about content. It's about ritual. About emotional routine. About viewers instinctively knowing when their favorite worlds appear. So when ITV disrupts that rhythm, audiences pay attention. Especially older loyal viewers who remember the classic Corrie era. And that's where the nostalgia factor becomes incredibly powerful. Because the moment ITV confirmed hour-long Friday episodes were returning, social media exploded. For some fans this felt comforting, familiar, almost emotional. A reminder of the years when Coronation Street dominated Friday night television culture. But for others, it raises uncomfortable questions. Has the Power Hour experiment actually worked the way ITV hoped? Or are executives quietly realizing that shortening episodes may have sacrificed some of the emotional immersion that made soaps culturally unstoppable in the first place? And that's when things take a darker turn. Because behind all the scheduling language, there's a much bigger industry fear lurking underneath this entire situation. Audience fragmentation. Modern television is fighting for survival. Streaming platforms. TikTok. Football. Reality television. Every entertainment brand is competing for shrinking audience attention. And soaps now exist inside a brutal battle for relevance. That's why every scheduling decision suddenly feels strategic. Every episode placement matters. Every ratings dip becomes dangerous. Every nostalgia-driven move feels calculated. And what makes this even more fascinating is how emotionally attached audiences remain to these soap institutions. People don't just watch Coronation Street. They inherit it. Families pass it down through generations. Entire routines are built around it, which means changing the format was never simply a programming decision. It was emotional disruption. And now ITV appears to be experimenting with nostalgia again. Perhaps testing audience reaction. Perhaps measuring engagement. Perhaps quietly wondering whether the old structure still holds emotional power after all these years. But there's another layer here too. Because while football is temporarily reshaping the schedule, the World Cup itself creates a strange opportunity. Massive national audiences, heightened viewing habits, shared cultural conversation. And ITV may be hoping that repositioning Coronation and Emmerdale around these huge television events could reignite broader public attention. Especially with storylines this explosive. Theo's murder mystery alone has become one of Coronation Street's darkest long-running arcs in years. And viewers are emotionally invested in every suspect. Meanwhile, Emmerdale's fire mystery is slowly turning paranoia into obsession. So perhaps this schedule shakeup isn't only damage control. Perhaps it's an experiment. Yes. A glimpse into how ITV may shape the future of soaps moving forward. Because one thing is becoming increasingly obvious. Television is changing faster than audiences emotionally process those changes. And legacy shows like Coronation Street are now trapped between two worlds. Tradition and reinvention. But which side ultimately wins? That's the question nobody can answer yet. And honestly, ITV probably doesn't fully know either. What happens next could shape the long-term future of British soap scheduling itself. Will viewers embrace the return of longer standalone episodes? Will nostalgia prove stronger than modern pacing? Could this become permanent again one day? Or is this simply a temporary throwback before the streaming era fully takes over? One thing is certain. The battle for audience loyalty is far from over. And the next few weeks could reveal far more than ITV ever intended. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest Coronation Street drama, theories, and behind-the-scenes twists. Because on this channel, the real drama isn't always happening on screen.